Hello there and welcome to another edition of Business Digest, the very first edition of the month of August. Let's have a look at what we have on today's episode. Now, on our very first story today, we're going to be exploring what interior design is doing to boost the Made in Rwanda program here in the country and where it stands in the business ecosystem here in the country. Have a look.
From what I've seen, there is a style that is more traditional, that is more common, and I'm trying to break out of that. So I'm trying to, I'm still working with all of my artisans and carpenters. Everybody is Rwandan, and we're just collaborating to come up with new styles. I'm very, very excited to introduce brand new things. So I hope that the excitement comes off and Rwandans, everybody can be excited to try new things with all the new designs too. I had done my interior design consultations and done my job for about 5 years back home, and then I moved here and didn't know the market or the industry and how it would be here. And then so after I kind of sat and thought about what I wanted to do in Rwanda, I realized I still want to do what I love, which is interior design. And I would just go for it and try it in the market here. And I've actually been meeting tons of people, and it seems like there is a booming or blossoming industry of interior design in Rwanda now. I try to not do just one style and one inspiration, one thing all the time. So I'm always gonna have new designs and be inspired by different things. Right now, the inspiration is the artisans that I work with here. So I have the materials that we can work with, which is the types of wood and the metal and the pieces of materials that I can use to kind of design each piece. Depending on every client that I have, I will do a totally different design depending on what they want, and so I let the client inspire me. And the fun thing with the store, having now the boutique shop, is I am allowing myself to be the inspiration, because normally I'm used to designing for everyone else, which is fun and I love it. And you pick pieces up from what they're saying, and I interview them and I get all of their wish lists kind of checked off. But here at the store, I'm using it as my own playground, almost like my own studio, where I am inspired by different things. And this season, I'm gonna make the room about that. This room, this season, this collection, which you'll see, is inspired by, oddly enough, dark spaces. I think a lot of homes that I have seen here have a lot of walls and a lot of rooms and a lot of closed off light. As similarly to this store, it didn't have a lot of bright light, and so a lot of times I can recommend, paint your walls white and brighten up the space and leave your doors open and this type of thing in order to brighten up the space. But for this design, this season, I wanted to embrace the darkness and kind of focus more on warm candlelit lighting, warm light bulbs, the lighting in the room being very soft, and that the walls are very dark. All the furniture is heavy, grounding, and that can just feel really cozy when you have a nice candle lit. At this location in particular, I do try to keep my prices as low as possible for that reason, because you want to support local. You want to be buying things made from the hands of the country that you're in. And I also think when you import it, it becomes very expensive. So I think with all of my vendors and the people that I'm working with, we try to come to a place where I talk to them about how I do my pricing, and so we come up with a price together. Them knowing that if we keep our price low, more people can buy it, and that will get more work for all of us. So this is a hand-carved dessert plate with a candle and a cow horn chimney. So you can reuse the candles. Once the candle burns out, you can replace it. And it has a really nice light, and it's all made here. Nice table, but then when you add the charger and the linen napkin and the hand-carved bowl and the napkin ring holder and then this really cute hand-carved spoon. It just makes a difference. You add the centerpiece.
Interior design that I do, it's all about decorating the houses, the baby showers, bridal showers, and birthdays, even a trip. So why I chose to do this, it's just because that I love decoration. So before I paint these bottles, first of all I have to make a choice between in the colors that I want to use in a decor. Most of the time, black and silver, it's matching. It's matching. So that's why most of the time, once I want to use like black colors, I also go for silver or gold just to make it beautiful. So this is the color. It's chocolate. So I have to paint the bottles. As you can see, the bottle is already chocolate as the color that I wanted. So once this get dry, I can also do like a design behind this. I can use different stones. As you can see here, there's a bottle that I painted, but there's also a bottle that I have painted before. This is black, and this white thing, it's a decor that I put on just to make it good, and this is the flowers that are inside. So like as you can see, you can use this bottle to decorate your house, your office.
Andela Kigali is organizing an event under the theme Build Software Engineering Talents to Suit Particular Local Needs. This event brings together multiple stakeholders within the Rwandan and African technology ecosystems to share ideas on how to build strong careers for a sustainable future of the software engineering field in Rwanda. The goal is to provide an understanding of the various possibilities for long-term employment and the knowledge necessary to begin work in software engineering and progress in that job. This event was also a platform to discuss and address the necessary changes to make to reinforce the field and make it more competitive at an international level. In this regard, the attendees that range from university students in Rwanda, professionals in the software engineering field, and other professionals will have an opportunity to listen to and interact with key players in the ecosystem who will be participating in fireside chat.
This difference is the fact that this is about about promoting the skills and knowledge of software engineers. So the X is, termed as limitless, meaning that our engineers are being enlightened and informed as to how they can go beyond what they think they can currently do. So it's not just about creating websites, not just about creating apps, but also identifying problems on the continent and in the country that they can use their skills.
Okay, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I think what made the event different is that it was very engaging. It was a conversational type of event, other than say a conference type where people just come to speak, and it seems like it's not really conversational. People are not having a conversation, but this it was very interesting in the sense that it had different stakeholders, government leaders, you have people in the private sector, but you also have students who are looking at this as a career path. And I think it helps to, get collective ideas from all these people. Yeah. Well, so I got into this because, well, one, I studied this, and it was not my plan A. I think my plan A initially had always been to be a doctor, but when I didn't get that, I got the option to join this field. I was aware of the field, but I was not very exposed to, say, the different people in this field to, sort of give you advice and, tell you about exactly what they do or what are the different options for you to consider. But I had the opportunity to, say, be surrounded by, say, good professors or good role models when I decided to join the field in school. And I think from there I saw the different career paths, the different career options that were there for me, and interacting with different stakeholders, be it in the private sector, people who are working in these fields, or people who once worked in these fields. I think it gives one a sense of comfort where they're heading, but also it gives you an overview of what to expect once you're out there and the different career options that you would choose.
So one major problem that is being faced across the continent will be fake news. For example, there was fake news today around the border being closed due to the Ebola outbreak in Congo. So things like these are problems we are trying to solve, whereby we can solve for fake news not escalating fast, rather than the authentic news should escalate before the fake news, or the fake news shouldn't even escalate in the first place. There's also the problem of HIV/AIDS, seeing how technology can come into play as to solving the health sector, education. There are so many aspects, sports, there's this aspect of physiotherapy where technology is being put into play as to how injuries can be cured faster than the usual process. So these are problems that can be solved.
I think the question of female involvement in this sector is not just a Rwandan problem, it's a global problem. Everyone is talking about it. But for the biggest part, I would say one is, again, there's a lot of stereotypes around this field, that it's not meant for, for women, it's difficult, it's this, it's that. But I think over time it's changing. And also the lack of role models who have actually succeeded in this field, women role models who have succeeded in this field, who actually come out to inspire some of these girls who are considering this as a career option, is also one of the biggest problems. Growing up, we've seen different doctors, we've seen engineers, we've seen lawyers, but in rare cases, can you point out how many software developers that you know? But that is changing over time, and I believe having these women out there speak about their career options is something that can greatly contribute to the numbers, which is also one of the reasons why Girls in ICT exists, to inspire more women to join careers in STEM by sharing our experiences and sharing what we do on a daily basis to interest them in considering this.
And on today's segment of Market Trends, we'll be looking at the Consumer Price Index for the month of June 2019. The Urban CPI will be the focus of the publication, as it is the headline index of monetary policy purposes. Looking at the Urban Index, the Urban CPI increased by 0.9% on annual basis and was stable on monthly basis. The average annual rate between June 2019 and June 2018 was 0.8%. Looking at the rural index, the rural CPI increased by 0.9% on annual basis and decreased by 0.1% on monthly basis. The overall Rwanda index, the Rwanda CPI increased by 0.9% on annual basis and decreased by 0.1% on monthly basis. The urban CPI is calculated based on approximately 1,622 products in 12 urban centers of Rwanda. It increased by 0.9% in June compared to the same month of 2018. Alcoholic beverages, tobacco and narcotics increased by 5.3%. Clothing and footwear increased by 6.0% and transport increased by 3.2%. The consumer price index for June was stable compared to May 2019. The underlying inflation rate, excluding fresh food and energy, increased by 0.5% compared to May 2019 and increased by 2.2% when compared to June 2018. The annual average inflation between June 2019 and June 2018 is 0.8%. The annual average underlying inflation rate is 1.5%. Now that's all we had for you on today's show. Make sure to tune in again next week, same time, same place. My name is Diana Iriza. Make sure to keep it Rwanda TV.